everybody. Happy new week. I hope you're doing amazing. We're back from a different part of the world. I'm joining today. As Dave and Susan asked me, where are you logging in from today? I've got my virtual background on because I'm at my Gold Coast head office and I'm excited. And those guys are over in Canada. So it's a Sunday afternoon for you guys, isn't that right?
It's just about supper time here, Sunday night. We're
Well,
just winding down.
5 o'clock, Sunday night.
I love it. Last night, at that time, I was watching the footy on the couch. So for me, it's like all systems are going on Monday. So thank you so much for, saying yes to this interview because I'm very, very proud of the type of book that you've written and what it stands for. And I can't wait for us to all find out a little bit more about it. So why don't we get the official part out of the way, and that is, share the book basically and a little bit about who you guys are. And then we'll get stuck into the conversation. All right, you guys. So Susan and Dave Kenney are co-founders of Emergo Academy, an online community for people struggling with addictions or any major life crisis. They are not your typical couple. Since 2011, they have lived with, coached, and led more than 2,000 people to a heroic life of recovery and vibrant well-being. While leading a team of 26 professionals, Susan and Dave have gained an intimate knowledge of people who want to turn their lives around. They have stories of lost hope, tears, anger, fear, laughter, panic, sleepless nights, of ending it all, of courage and celebrations, and so much more. Dave and Susan have pioneered Actualized Recovery, the brain-first approach to lasting recovery. Their book, Actualized Recovery, it's not about 12 steps, recovery is a brain thing, became an international bestseller in 3 countries across 5 different book categories. Both Susan and Dave have dedicated their extensive career to helping individuals reclaim their lives after struggles with addiction, substance abuse disorder, anxiety, depression, suicide, ideation, and other debilitating challenges. Why? Because they believe everyone has an inspirational comeback story waiting to be lived. I love that finishing sentence, guys. So thank you so much. What brought you to writing it? Let's talk about that first.
What brought us to writing it? You want to start?
Nope, you got
Okay.
this.
Because our methodology, Nat, is so different. Everything that we've done is unique. We created it. We started in 2008 thinking the brain drives behavior. So the brain has to be part of the solution when it comes to people struggling with addiction or anxiety, depression, all of those things, right? Whether it's food, whether it's, gambling, it doesn't matter. And so we got tired of saying the same thing over and over again. And it was just easier to write the book and let the book speak for us. And it's done that. Like it's just opened up so many doors for us. And yeah.
Well, it's taking the knowledge up here with our brains and our team, which is hard to describe when you meet people and just talk to people. Like it's hard to explain an entire methodology to help people in their darkest hours or family members and to give them hope. And that's what this book does. This book is a book to give people hope. Susan often talks about we don't run this is a birth of the pandemic, actually, because if we continued to run our residential program, which was the plan, I don't know if we would have been able to carve out the time necessary for the book. And it's been a tremendous journey. Here's the other thing about the book is we've gotten greater clarity ourselves about the methodology, and it is not a book of opinion. It is an evidence-based book. It's an easy read. It's actually, if you can say, a fun read. There's some great anecdotes and stories.
Great stories.
And it's just been a work of, I guess, Nat, it's been a work of passion and pleasure, and one that we're so, I guess, grateful that you came into our lives to help us bring structure to this and make it happen.
I love it. And I always feel that from you guys, and I have no doubt it would be entertaining every time I speak to you guys. There's always fun stories or anecdotes and things like that. So yeah, I do agree, like pulling it together and getting what's out of your head that you've been doing with others, like repeating yourself. Often we find ourselves repeating ourselves. So why don't I just systemize this? Well, literally that's what kind of you have done. And this is wonderful because now you guys are helping others be able to use this approach to do it with those that need recovery. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So it's become a resource for people that are in recovery. It's become inspirational for families.
Yes.
And also we use it as a textbook
Yep.
for our course.
And our course is?
It's an 8-week crisis and recovery international certification.
I love
So
it.
adding the book, because we did 2 classes. We did one class that didn't have the book. The class that just graduated had the book. It has changed everything to be able to coach with
the other group are professionals, therapists, psychologists, medical doctors,
right.
Drug counselors and addiction counselors. One of the testimonials on the back of the book, she talks about she's from Arizona. She's been in the field for 20-25 years and said that everything else is like a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. But this solves the issue, gets to the underlying root cause, which is the brain. And our mission actually, and part of the book, is to train and certify 1,000 coaches to be crisis and recovery coaches, internationally certified crisis recovery coaches, and help them find 1,000 clients, which means then we've impacted more than 1 million people, which is far beyond anything we ever could have done before.
Yeah, on your own, there's only so many people you can help, right?
Right.
I had a similar one. I wanted to help 1,000 authors, and I'm getting very close to that. We're like, I think, sitting about 850. And then when I think about those 1,000 authors making the change, and well, you guys are one book that now has this goal of 1,000 with 1,000. So if that's 1 million there and all the other people, then I feel like the ripple does start to spread, especially in your particular niche. It's so needed. Like, it's such a topic that not many people talk about, or they hide it, or so tell me.
It's not what we immediately think of as a substance of alcohol, drugs. This is about overcoming any behavioral challenge or setback in our life or trauma in our life. And I don't know of anybody who doesn't, in the quiet hours of the night, beat themselves up about things they could have done, should have done, didn't do, or things they are doing, and they repeat that cycle. That's what this book offers people, is a pathway forward and an understanding why we make negative choices in our life, because it's a brain thing. And you can
a
change
brain
that.
function thing.
You can change it.
So to differentiate, it's like if a heart wasn't working properly, if a liver wasn't working properly, you don't blame or shame somebody that has an organ that isn't working properly. And that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
The brain is driving behaviors. If you're doing things that you don't want to do, and other people are looking at you going, why would you possibly do that? Then we've got to take a look at the actual organ first.
Can you tell me one little example from what you mean when you describe that? Because I'm very curious about, what you guys do and how you look at it.
Habits.
Well, first of all, I'm going to go with a computer. Susan's talking about brain function, which is the hard drive of the computer. Right. Mindset and all those meditation, all those things. By the way, we believe in all those. That's the software. So the software will not work if the hardware has a virus and in your computer, and the hardware isn't working. I don't care what you do software wise. It's the same thing from the brain. And a virus for the brain is a trauma, emotional, physical. There's 4 different kinds, but trauma negatively impacts how the brain functions, so it can get caught in a frozen state. Yeah. So we first work on the hard drive, which is your brain, because your brain drives everything, including, like it or not. And you wanted to talk about habits.
So neuropathways, they over time, when they fire together and we learn to do something, a pattern, say, if everybody can imagine right now, if you write your signature with your dominant hand, it's easy, right? It just flows. You've done it thousands of times. You don't even have to think about it anymore. But if I asked you to take your non-dominant hand and write your signature, you'd likely be frustrated. It would be messy. Yeah. It wouldn't look like
take more time. Take more time.
And take far more time. So that's the difference between a pattern that you've done over and over and over again and a new pattern that you're trying to develop. So think of that if you're drinking too much wine, if you're eating late at night, if you're gambling, if, fill in the behavior, you've
Yes.
done it over and over and over again, and you've created a network of neural pathways,
Mm.
then what we want to do is create new neural pathways and distance yourself from what you were doing.
But here's the neat part. My passion is education and teaching as much as helping others. But we teach this in our recovery coaching program, and it is different than life coaching, fitness coaching, nutrition coaching, because this is about helping people in a crisis. And recovery coaching is the number one, Nat, it's the number one in-demand coaching niche in the world, not life coaching, because you're not solving a problem. And so there are more people struggling than there are educated, certified coaches. And that's what we teach is things that Susan's talking about is a shame-free approach.
Yeah.
And our coaches now are able to help people make a significant, profound change in their life using neuroscience and some other methods that we have in the book.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. What else is in the book? Tell us, because soon we're going to share how people can go to taste from it and be able to access a little bit more information with you guys. What are some other things? So you said the book is not just applicable to a person going through. Would a person needing to go through recovery pick up this book?
God, I hope so.
Oh, I hope so too. It'll fast track their recovery for sure.
Well, not only fast track. We had somebody email us this week saying for 35 years they've been in AA meetings, and they've done everything they're supposed to do for 35 years. And every morning they wake up and pray they don't drink because they're hanging on by their fingernails.
Because they're still craving. Nothing has changed. They've just stopped drinking.
Well, nothing neurologically has changed. That's why Actualized Recovery is the brain first approach. The brain first approach to lasting recovery, or to well-being, or to thriving. We use the word recovery just to speak to a certain audience, but this is how you thrive in life, is that you understand that your brain drives your behavior. There's your debt, if you're in debt or in great wealth, what you eat and don't eat, what you consume and don't consume, friends wise, social media wise, how you sleep, your anger and rage. Are you shy and calm and you disappear in a room and don't want to engage with people? That's a parasympathetic brain. So all of this is controlled by the main organ, which is the brain. And what you have today is not what you have tomorrow. Here's hope. What you have today, you can positively change and impact at home, doing certain things with the right coaching. That's why we strongly recommend you get a recovery coach for anything you want to do to thrive in your life.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's got a bigger scope of various traumas that people or negative behaviors that they might be exhibiting, and they want to create change.
Because Nat, I think we always focus on emotional traumas. I think everybody says, oh, the big T trauma. But truly, from the brain point of view, the brain and nervous system are affected by 4 separate traumas. Chemical, which means that you can have food poisoning, you can have a flu bug, you can have hormonal disruption, a mental trauma, which is distress or stress over a period of time, can affect how the brain is functioning. Then we do have the emotional traumas. And then we have physical traumas, which are concussion, TBI, accident, anything that's physically disruptive to the nervous system, right? You could be working out and drop a weight on your head. And all of a sudden, a few months later, you're wondering why your behavior isn't functioning well.
Drop a weight on your head.
I was doing what my personal trainer calls them skull crushes, and I could have dropped the weight on my head today.
Don't do that.
Hey, I've never, ever thought of that before. So you and I have a brain radio.
This is
today.
Yeah, you
Seriously,
always.
like it's for tricep things, like the tricep. Yeah.
And things like we don't even understand. You can hit your fridge, right? Or getting into the car, and it can affect behavior, right? But here's the good news. The brain and nervous system repair very, very quickly if put in the right environment. So the first part of the book we call the neuroarchitecture. So it's written in very layman's terms. Everybody who's given us feedback said it's an easy read, but it gives them a great understanding of how the brain and nervous system work. And then the latter part of the book is the implementation or bringing actualized
the
recovery to
blueprint.
life.
It's the
The
blueprint.
blueprint.
Recovery blueprint, or you can say the thriving blueprint or the well-being
Right.
blueprint. This is not only for people struggling with an addiction, whatever
Yeah.
that is. By the way, there is no one definition in the world about addiction.
Right.
There is not. Like, you go study it.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling that we can't figure out. You can figure out a definition for diabetes, cancer, cardiologist issues, heart issues, but you can't with addiction. So addictions are defined as a brain disorder, brain disease.
Yeah.
That's the medical model, and AA leans into that, brain disease, or a brain disorder, which is the psychology psychiatrists in the DSM-5 as a disorder. Well, which one is it? Here's where we come from. We don't care if you call it a disease or a disorder. Both of them are saying it's a brain issue. So
Yeah.
what we've created is this holistic approach, which is a shame-free approach, meaning if you're making bad choices in your life and you seem to keep doing it and you promise you're never going to do it again, cigarette smokers, it's not your lungs craving it, it is your brain. And so when you understand this, you can change how your brain operates, which changes your decisions and choices. And yes, it is incredibly effective. And you want to talk about rewarding as a coach? It's one of the greatest things to be a recovery coach, to help people put their lives back. And as you said at the last line in our bio, is to live their comeback story.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's I love the brain, and I think this takes a very, because usually why do people go to a life coach? Generally, if there is some negative behavior they want to resolve. Whereas this is more specific around, that's exactly what it does, and it starts with the brain.
But if you're not addressing the brain,
Mm.
you're putting a band-aid on this, on the
Yeah.
problem.
So we have many life coaches that have been certified for years. We just graduated a class with a woman in the UK who said it beautifully. She was a doctor and trained life coach.
Yes.
And she said, when she took our course, she said, oh my gosh, like this has just brought everything
The
together
Olympics,
for
remember
me.
the Olympics
Yeah.
comment?
Yeah, this is like the coaching Olympics.
Yeah.
Is somebody in our group said, because we meet twice a week too. And again, there's the textbook of the book, which brings everything to light. So coaches have the actual book that they can pass on to their clients as well.
And what I love this, and what I call what you're doing certification, we use the word licensing here or whatever it is that, I actually did that with my very first book, the weight loss book. And I ended up having 33 licensees, and because I could only help so many people one-on-one, right? And you run out of time. And that's what you guys have done, which is what I love, is that you're now supporting your coaches and you're actually giving life coaches a formula. And that's what I found why mine also was quite successful at the time I was doing it, is because life coaches had no real structure. Like they'll talk to people for 2 sessions and then they'll run out of things to say, or
we actually plan before we graduate the group, they are already meeting with clients. They already have each week's structure mapped out. They know exactly what they're going to do. And we use models to teach. So it's not just engaging in conversation. We actually have our coaches draw things with their clients and engage the creative part of the brain, because it's completely different than verbal connection.
Well, you talked about your work in the fitness world. We've had many fitness coaches work with us because they're saying the workouts are amazing, but people aren't getting the results. And the reason why is the other behaviors in their life, and they've never had the training or coaching to help in the other areas. So now here's the thing. They're getting faster, better results, but also in the marketplace, they can differentiate themselves as a fitness recovery coach or fitness coach. And so they're getting more clientele and charging more money, which is a nice thing as a coach to do. But we've worked with doctors, we've worked with we had a reverend, we've worked with retired military.
We have a couple.
We've worked with
one was in another class, and she had her husband take the second class, so they can open a business together. She's
a RN, a nurse, and he's a addiction counselor, and he went
a psychiatric nurse.
He went, I'm not so sure, and then he went, oh my God, thank you, I took it. So we've had a stay-at-home mom with a lot of kids. Her focus is to help other moms and has created a wonderful program called Grounded in Nutrition.
No, rooted.
Rooted in Nutrition.
Rooted, because she's also taking her nutrition certification, but she said, I don't know how to meet with people. Like, I'm learning all the information through my nutrition course. I don't know how to apply it to coaching.
So
Yeah.
in other words, it's a wide swath. If you have a heart to want to help others, this is the greatest
It's not
opportunity.
just to help others. What we say is, if you have a calling to relieve suffering,
Yes.
that's what
Beautiful.
that's the foundation for this. So whether it's from personal experience, our next ad that goes out is actually going to say, no personal addiction experience necessary.
No.
Our program doesn't mean that you have to have had any experience
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
addiction personally, because you are the guide you're getting them from point A to point B. You're coaching them for their desired outcome.
We also have a woman from Boston who's now wintering in Texas. She's retired, but she now, because of the training, and she hadn't thought about it before, she's going to focus on helping families who are struggling with another family member with an addiction. And so she wants to help the parents. And so what I'm sharing with you is there's such opportunity here for people to help.
One of the greatest compliments that we got was actually from that coach. She's for 12 years, she's had her own business. She's been working with people, but she always felt like she had imposter syndrome, she said. And the reason she felt it is because she thought she had to have all the answers. And what we teach our coaches is not that. We teach our coaches that you need to have the best questions.
Yeah.
Your client already has the answers. And if you take them through this process that we have in Actualized Recovery and follow the teaching and methodology from the coaching program, the change that people have, the one of our family coaches, she got almost to the end of the course, and at a recovery program, she was coaching the parents. The parents have been working for 18 months with the recovery program. In one session, the recovery program said, oh my gosh, she has brought this family together in one afternoon using our methodology,
our blueprint, and our formula. But there is somebody with all the answers. Okay, you're talking about the questions. That's you, Nat.
Yes.
Because here's why. I don't believe our book would have happened without your structure and an occasional little push, little nudge, I would say, not push, a little nudge. But the structure,
just reminders.
Hang on. The structure that you offered at the beginning, and we went away and went camping, and we took our wife camping, and chapter 1 went on it. But you have certain key things that you're pulling out 3 or 4 bullets.
Yeah.
The structure for our book became clear, and as soon as we had structure, we went, oh my God! And here's the next brilliant thing that has helped us early on. You and your team, and Nick is so gifted. You're a creative guy. Created the cover.
Right.
Like we hadn't written anything, nothing.
Yes,
and
I remember that.
We got to write.
It brought it to life.
It brought it to life, and now we could see the vision, and it was like it was so inspiring to have the cover. So I actually went. I don't know if I've ever told you this. I went and printed those out on 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, and put them in plastic frames.
Yes.
Susan's desk. I put one on my desk.
Everywhere.
Actually, they're over here somewhere. And that's what I had. I was able to stare at it while I wrote the book.
Perfect.
It was an incredibly, it just brought it to life. It's brilliant to do for us.
I love it. Oh, thank you. We love hearing like just some of the advice. I often say printed, laminated, stick it around your house. So it's following you everywhere and reminding you that you need to keep going. And, it's,
we don't celebrate enough. Well, we don't. We go, okay, next task. The book cover in front of us helped me almost every day celebrate.
Book,
even hadn't been written.
Let's talk about celebrate. Nat and team got us to bestseller in Australia, Canada, and the US on the first day that we launched, and in 5 different categories. There are authors I read all the time. There are authors that our book was surpassing. And it was a pinch me moment at the end of the day saying, oh my gosh, we just hit bestseller.
Well, Dr. Daniel Amen, the Amen Clinics, the world's leading neuropsychiatrist, who is one of the key guys that endorsed our book, was on one of the 5 lists, but he ended up number 2 that day. We ended up being number 1, and I have
That's
a
pretty cool.
I actually took a picture of that.
There you go,
Yeah.
screenshot it. Yeah, I love it. It's absolutely amazing. And even the more I talk to you guys, the deeper I understand how cool the stuff that you teach is. And for those that don't have a system and a structure, if you're not going to create it yourself, or you feel like you don't know and you haven't had enough experience to create something, go into a program where people are doing it and utilize that. I always say it's like, you don't need to start from scratch. You can be
No.
part of something, and then eventually as you grow, you can create your own thing, but don't recreate the wheel. Like,
That's what we say. Our coaches can use anything that we
Yeah.
teach from. It
Yeah.
gets loaded up, whether
we
that's the
want them to.
slides,
Well,
whether
we want
that's
them to.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Every
love
model, because we teach a lot of models as well as the theory. So there's models that you can do, and we encourage everybody who goes through our 8-week course.
And then we
to
created
use them.
a membership too for
Oh, yeah.
coaches that wanted to
Oh.
continue on and keep learning. And we
That's
go
really
over
good.
business thing. We have guests that come
We
on.
also have a club. We also have a club for people who are just wanting to get through
get
recovery
in
on their own.
recovery, and they want to do
So
an
we
online.
got all sorts of clubs and things
Let's
online.
share your website, you guys. I want to show people around your website a little bit. Now, some people might be listening to this as a podcast. So go to the website, which is Emergo Academy, spelled EMERGO, and then academy.com. And as we here at the top of the website, you can see obviously Dave and Susan's probably introductory video.
Oh.
You can join their their community through the newsletter. And then the most important thing, what we're talking about today, is you can get a sneak peek inside Actualized Recovery by clicking this button here. But something really awesome that they just told me before this session is that if you join their free masterclass, which is actually where you get to learn from them, by registering, you get the whole book. Is it the ebook version, you guys, that they'll get?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They get the ebook version. If you register, it's a 90-minute master class. We'll put it on about it's free, about 4 times a year. So depending on when you click on it, you'll see the next master class. If you sign up, you get the free ebook, and love to have you. And in the master class, you'll learn more about recovery coaching as well as the whole book itself. We teach parts of the book in the class, in the master class.
And you can see we do other online challenges, and people feel free to reach out to us through the website.
Actually,
too.
Nat, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see these 8-week certificate right there. So
that's what it looks like.
That's the 8-week program right there. Recovery Club is just for people who want to jump into recovery. And then there's an 8-week certification course. So, but all of this fits with the book.
And that's what you look like a ninja when you're finished.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, read through the website if you're certainly interested in some of the things that are here available. I mean, there's so many free resources as well. I often sometimes just tap into an expert through some of their free resources, start to get to know them a little bit more, the information. I mean, I just joined the membership experience with Stu McLaren, who I've been just getting. Have you done it too?
Yeah, I just downloaded some of his information. It's on my screen.
And did you guys join like to do it properly, like through the paid format or some of the free information?
Right now, I'm just looking at the free stuff.
Right. So that's what I've been doing for 12 months. And that's the thing that happens in this world, especially with you guys. People might be meeting you here today for the first time and realizing you exist. And the website's got such beautiful resources, a free masterclass. Why not head along if you are like, if there's some kind of spark within you that's gone, that sounds really, I'm curious, go and do it, because eventually, you might want to learn and be certified, or who knows, but you'll pick up some hot tips. I always say, no matter what, even in whatever free information is out there, you're going to pick up some gold nuggets that can change your life, as long as you implement, right? So I really appreciate you guys giving us your time on your Sunday evening. And I wish you every success, and we should do this interview in 6 or 12 months and just then kind of get an update as to what's going on, because I know the fact that when we were at the 3-day retreat program, you guys pre-launched and showed the cover, and there was credibility from my books with a publisher, and those kind of conversations that people are
Yes,
having.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
When you said to pre-launch, I
yeah.
was terrified. And then all of a sudden orders started coming in for the book. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, people actually want our book.
Yeah, it's
And
really cool.
the next book is going to be the Actualized Recovery Workbook, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
hopefully
beautiful.
we'll circle back to that
But
in the
now
fall.
you know how to do the book. I think the second and third and fourth are going to be so much
They
easier.
come, they come a lot faster. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
It
think.
is easier when you know the first time. My father-in-law did 2 books in 1 year. The first book, he was like a baby, needed to be nurtured through every single step. And the
Yeah.
second book, he literally just worked with my team in publishing, and I hardly saw him because he just went through all the steps. So you're right. And you guys are lifetime members, so you can redo your 3-day program by having done our ultimate package. So to get the timing, like, just I often find like people know what to do, but still
Yeah.
if they don't have goals and timelines, they can start sometimes lag.
And
So
then I loved our group. Like,
yeah,
I
so
still
reattend
feel like
another one when you're
being,
ready.
yeah,
Reattend another 3-day at no cost, and then that way you can
Thanks.
focus on the second one. Yeah. Beautiful,
Thanks.
guys. Thank you so much, everyone out there. Go and snap up and check out this book. And Dave and Susan's emergoacademy.com. And remember, as always, go and smash it out. Bye, guys.
Bye.